To have you back. If you are just joining us, this is Firecrackers and we are just about to get started. And I have with me here in the studio Dr. Yemi Omodele. Many thanks for joining us at this time.
Thank you, and I say good day to listeners at home.
Thank you. All right. And we will be joined by Zubar Abubakar, who will be joining us live from Kaduna as we move on this topic. So now let us get to the topic we have at hand. Since the petition tribunal declared that President Tinubu is still the lawfully elected president of Nigeria, we have this presidential candidate rushing to the Supreme Court to try to appeal the judgment. Although the everything about it, it's because this is why we have to talk about this. The things that the tribunal struck out, this is still the same thing they are taking to the Supreme Court. Would you not say that perhaps this is a waste of judicial time and burden on our judiciary?
No, you see, the Constitution is very clear as to rights of appeal. The appellants, they are exercising their constitutional rights to appeal against the judgment delivered. So there is no misnomer there. And then it is the duty of the judiciary is to dispense justice to all manner of persons. So since it is the duty of the judiciary and the appellants have appealed to the Supreme Court will listen to them and hear them and decide one way or the other. So no matter how technical or reasonable or unreasonable the appeal may be, it is the responsibility of the court to hear it. So, and since since they've appealed now, I think we lawyers will say sub judice. So I wouldn't go to that area whether it's meritorious or not until the Supreme Court decides. But I can say that the appellants exercised their constitutional right to appeal, which is in line with the law.
Okay, and for the presidential candidate of PDP, news have been emerging that he was advised against appealing, but then he still went ahead. Because since it seems as if there is no new evidence on ground, would it not still be the same thing they faced for the petition tribunal that they're still going to face in the Supreme Court? Since there seems to be no new, what Justice Amani's declaration was not completely reflective of what happened in the February general election.
You see, when we talk of constitutional right, it's a right that cannot be mortgaged. So the man exercises his constitutional right, so he's entitled to it. And as I said earlier on that the issue is now sub judice until otherwise decided. But I would just say that he is vast in politics, and he has intelligent lawyers, and the lawyers are doing their work based on his instructions. So they cannot do away with the instructions of the client. So, and that was what the lawyers had done. So he is capable to bear the whatever conditions attached to the appeal. So, and the persons handling it for him, they are also competent hands. So let him ventilate his grievances via the appeal, and he has accordingly done so. So let the wise men at the up there listen to it and make findings and lay it to rest to avoid I was persuaded, I was denied. So such cannot happen. So, and that's exactly what the man is doing. That in future nobody will come and say it was Mr. X and Y who advised me not to do this. I would have done that. So it was Mr. Z and Q that said I should keep quiet. So he has exercised his right. So let those wise men look at it. They will make findings and they will rule accordingly without any delay. Yes, so that is the ball. So he's playing it.
I'm guessing this puts a rest to people blaming the lawyers for not perhaps addressing their clients right. Because at least a lawyer would know some of these evidences that are admissible in court and which are not. Some have outrightly blamed lawyers for just being greedy and then they just want money from their clients. So I'm guessing this has really put things in perspective that it is not really the lawyers but what the client wants. Is that correct?
You see, let me tell you. If you go for a medical checkup and a medical practitioner tells you that, my friend, stop taking alcohol and cigarette, and you get out of the hospital, you say that medical practitioner does not know what he was saying. That each time you take alcohol, it makes you to be agile and think fast, and you keep on drinking it. So when the man sees the repercussion of the substance taking, he cannot blame the medical doctor. So if a lawyer advises and the client says do it this way, and the lawyer feels that he cannot do that, he can brief another lawyer. So if he briefs another lawyer takes it up, that is the decision of the council. So we cannot blame lawyer for that. So is somebody now, if you don't go and meet a lawyer with a particular legal problem, the lawyer wouldn't have known that you have a legal problem. It's when you come to meet the lawyer, you tell the lawyer, give him this way, okay, this is how this one can do this one is A, this is one, this is negative. And constructively, he sees certain things that can be done. The lawyer will do his work. So lawyers are not manufacturing cases. Clients get those cases, they brief lawyers, and the lawyer take it up and do their job. That is a finance. It's like the court. The court is there quietly. You file your cases, you bring it. The court will hear you. Either positive or negative, the court will hear you. The court doesn't go and meet litigants and say, come and file case, come and file, or lawyers. The court doesn't do that. The same thing applicable to lawyer. The same thing applicable to medical doctor. The same thing applicable to chartered accountants. The pharmacists. Is when you have problems, go to them. When you get problems, go to them. They give you the ways, possible ways of resolving the problem. That's exactly what lawyers are doing.
Noted. But if we look at the situation in Nigeria right now,
Yes.
one of the complaints of the masses is justice takes way too long. Just too long. It's supposed to be the last hope for the common man. But then, there's this saying in Yoruba language, well, I'll try to roughly translate.
Yeah.
Like when you hope too much,
Yeah.
it might make the mind or the soul fatigued. So if that is a problem we're having here, because there also seems to be shortage of justices to pass judgment in court, we have record of, or it is not, this is even something that is glaring. If you go to court of laws, you would see that a judge would have up to 5-6 cases that they have to work on for that particular day. And most of the time, it is even going to be postponed, maybe to the coming month or so. And if we're having issues like this, because of this tribunal, because of the petition, it probably puts a stop on some of these cases that is going on in court. And then now, we are also having this shift again to the Supreme Court. These justices that are already busy, they have much more work piled on them. What do you think could be done to reduce this burden on these justices?
You see, I think I have said it here in one of the programs organized. You see, the court may not be directly causing delay of cases. There are certain things called systemic problems. Those systemic problems, they are power shortage, fuel scarcity, NSAS, COVID-19 and the rest. I regard them as systemic problems, do cause it. But when we come to election petition tribunal, which some of the justices were asked to handle for some months or for a period of time, one way or the other, some cases must have been affected. But those cases, those petitions handled, were handled for the sake of the national interest and the necessity that brings, they are time-bound cases. Now, and that is why priority were placed on those cases, on those petitions. Now, the simple mathematics is this. It will not be out of place if at the state government level for the High Court judges and the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, which is federal, and the Federal High Court, National Industrial Court, the number of the justices be increased. There's nothing bad about that. So as to cope with the challenges. Now, personally, seeing a bar list, we call it bar list in court, a judge having like 20 cases, 30 cases, it is rather, the workload is much. And every day, Monday to Friday, is too much. So if you multiply 20 times 5, you have like 100 cases in a week. Then times the number of working days in a year. You know how it is. Save the vacation period. Even during vacation, there is what we call vacation judge, presiding over some urgent matters. Now, when that happens, the simple thing to do by the government is to increase the number of judges that will be presiding over those cases at the state level. Why the federal government take care of the Federal High Court and the National Industrial Court? Why that of the Court of Appeal to be increased and the Supreme Court also, the required number be elevated. Judges be elevated to occupy the vacant positions. That will make the workload to go down a bit. But you see, there are certain things happening which litigants and the populace, they mistakenly see that the judiciary causes delay.
Okay.
That impression.
Please don't laugh for a while, Doctor.
You see, before a lawyer approaches court, there's what we call brief. He will be briefed. And then in most cases, for the experienced lawyers, they do give what we call advice. Whether to go through what they call alternative dispute resolution or otherwise called mediation. An experienced lawyer will definitely give it, save in some instances that has to do with probably like election petition, chieftaincy matter, fundamental right and the likes, or criminal cases, even some criminal cases sometimes. Now, some of these litigants, when they brief a lawyer and the lawyer advises and says, okay, come, this case is between you and your siblings. It's better we sit down and discuss together and see a way we can make the two of you live in peace and not in part. In most cases, those litigants, they do ignore such advice and go to another lawyer who may not give them such advice earlier on given. And that one will go to court and file. Meanwhile, a lawyer had initially advised that this is a way to resolve this is a way to. He files suit in court. Now, such a suit filed in the court, will you blame the judiciary for that? Now, such cases are being filed in court virtually every day in this country, in all the states of the Federation. So, thereby compounding the problem in the system. Now, instead of having like 5 cases, you see 20 cases filed in a day. It will still go to the docket of the judge. And the judge must treat the case based on the merits of the case without any fear or favor. So the litigants themselves are to be blamed, not the judiciary. I am not saying there are no 1 or 2 hinges here and there, but litigants are to be blamed because they are the one causing the problem. Okay, for instance, let's do this analysis. If everybody maintain peace, you do things as the law says, do you think there will be need to be filing cases?
Definitely.
Do you think police will be arresting people? But it's because these persons, they refused and are neglected to comply with what the law says. If you keep to traffic rules and regulations, do you think last man will arrest you? Do you think road safety will arrest you? Do you think traffic warden will arrest you? No. But because people refuse to comply with what the law says, that is what is causing the problem. And causing that problem means the litigants are the one causing the problem. They are the one even causing more delay. Let me tell you from experience. A lawyer filed a suit in court, do what we call pre-trial and then slated for trial. The lawyer was ready to do the trial. Prepare the litigant for possible trial, the subsequent adjourned date. All of a sudden, the lawyer gets to court. And the litigant calls the lawyer and tells him, counsel, I am sorry, I can't make it to the court. I have a stomach upset. You understand it? Then now the lawyer is at a tight corner to be telling the court, my lord, I received a call this morning. The first witness want to call, unfortunately, is indisposed, cannot be in court, blah, blah, blah. It's adjourned. Will you blame that one on the judiciary? Will you blame that one on the lawyer? You blame it on the litigants. He who alleges must prove. If you file your case, you are the owner of your case. The lawyer is just doing his professional, is just rendering his professional service. While the judiciary is rendering the statutory service required. So you can't blame the court. You cannot blame the lawyer. You blame the litigant. When you bring your witnesses, the lawyer will discharge his duty. The court will also give judgment timeously. Now, for instance, there are some criminal cases in court. With due respect to the prosecuting team and the prosecuting bodies, majority of the adjournments in court are being caused by the prosecution. Not by the court, not by the defense lawyers. They will get to court, they will say the IPO is on national assignment at Maiduguri. Next adjournment, they will say it's a national assignment in Zamfara. Next adjournment, they will say the in-law to the IPO died. Is that delay caused by the court or by the defense lawyer? It's by the prosecution. This happens virtually in all the judicial divisions in Nigeria. At the end of the day, the judiciary is the one causing delay. As how? When? Where?
Okay,
so those are the issues.
Let us look at some of the peculiar things about tribunals. It is always, there's always this saying that it is very difficult to unseat a sitting governor or president. But now let us even look at the one that took place this week. That is the tribunal that sacked Abba Yusuf of the NNPP in Kano State. How did you see how that played out?
Yeah, well, you see, I read it in papers and then some online media reports. I read it. Unfortunately, I was unable to read the comprehensive judgment. But let us be sincere with ourselves. The tribunal had given the verdict it had been given. That is all. So the man still has options to go on appeal, which is his constitutional right.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, he can exercise that. Yes, he can exercise that. So it will be, I cannot say what the tribunal did was wrong, because what the tribunal saw, I did not see it. Yes. What did the tribunal felt with the witnesses, I did not have such opportunity. And what made the tribunal to reach such a conclusion, I don't know. But I know the tribunal had done the work assigned to such a tribunal. But if the aggrieved person or persons feel such decision is not in line with what they thought should have happened, they should approach the upper court or higher court for possible redress. And I know it will be looked into. Yes, it will be. But it will be very wrong of anybody to say the judgment is just no. But do you see, once a court makes a decision, the decision has been made until otherwise set aside by higher court.
Something that played out in something like what played out in Osun State, the one of Boyega Oyetola and Adeleke. You know, the petition tribunal declared Boyega winner, and then it went to the Supreme Court, and then Adeleke was reinstated as winner of the governorship election again. So since that is why a lot of people feel like it is difficult to unseat a sitting
wait, no. Let's the Boyega and what you call Oyetola and Adeleke, there were two cases. The first time Boyega contested, it was challenged by Adeleke. The second time Adeleke contested, it was challenged by Boyega. Now, you see, the slogan that you cannot unseat a sitting president or governor, no, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. Because we have had instances in Nigeria, like Ondo State, Mimiko and Agagu. There, I think Oshiomole and the other man in Edo State there. Then I think a replica of it, Oyinola and the other man there, and so on and so forth like that. So those decisions were handed down. They were challenged on appeal, and at the end of the day, what happened? The winner became winner. That is it. So you see some persons who are not of legal mind, they carelessly talk anyhow. You can't exceed, you can't. No, that is not the way. You see, those justices you see presiding over matters, they are well experienced. If you are telling lies, they know. If you are saying the truth, they know. You see, and by the time they look at the records, they look at what is brought before the tribunal or before the appellate court, they draw inference and make some findings. They know why, based on precedents. So nobody should just conclude and say maybe there is no, they should not go to that area at all. When a medical practitioner enters the theater and conducts operation, he knows what he has done. Similar thing when a judge presides over a matter, he presides on it based on facts and evidence, documentary and oral brought. The judge was not part of the case. It was a judge, a contestant. I think the answer is no. Even the lawyers carrying out their statutory duties there, they are not contestants. Some of them, they are not even carry members of the particular political party. They are doing their work. So if a litigant wants to win a case, he should start preparing from day one of his intention to contest. If he doesn't want to contest on Father Christmas basis, he should start preparing from day one. Number one, be strategizing. If I lose primary, what will be my next option? If I win primaries, how do I win the main election? If I win main election and it's a challenge, how do I defeat my opponent? Those are it.
That is a great advice.
That is it.
Upcoming elections in November. So they should start preparing so that it won't be the repetition of.
Yeah, they should start from day one. The day one, maybe they sleep and dream that, okay, I want to contest to be the Speaker of House of Nigeria or House of everybody. Start planning. Set up your thinking tank, your legal team, your medical team, your strategist that will strategize for you. That is how to win an election. You don't win an election based on say you get money or you are popular. So when your strategic team, they bring the idea, the legal team, they bring the idea, the medical team, they bring the idea that if you go to Congress, if anything happens, if somebody falls sick, how do we take care of him? The nurses, you include them. The sociologists, you put them there, the psychologists, you put them, the philosophers, put them there. So, but then the engineers, put them there in case there is any fire outbreak there, in case there is a mechanical problem, they will take care of it. But when you just wake up because you have money, start flinging your money here and there, and you think you want to win an election based on sharing of garri and salt. No, that is not the game. You will lose. So they should start from day one. Then let me tell you, when election is going on, and you suspect a foul play, or you are suspected that there is going to be foul play, your strategists and your thinking tank, on the day the election is going to be conducted,